Hi there, this is Paul Thompson from Spitfire Audio. I'm very excited today to be able to show you the first look at our Artisan Cello library. This is an addition to our producer portfolio range, and it's designed in a very similar way to the Andy Findon kit bag. So if you're familiar with that library, then you'll feel right at home with this straight away. So there are three main patches in the library. The first patch is the performance patch, which is designed to kind of to be as easy to play as possible and give you maximum access to lots of different kinds of performance techniques in one bag. So I'm going to leap straight in. We're going to start with the valve close mic. There are, as you can see, there are a different kind of variety of selections of mics in here. I'll go through those very quickly. So it's a close condenser. This is a dirt mic, which is slightly grittier and a little bit distorted. A stereo pair, close ribbon mic, a room stereo, and then this close valve mic. This is the default mic that loads up when you load the library and all of the patches. It's my favourite sound in the library, but these are all useful to give you slightly different perspectives. This library is recorded in a smaller, drier environment than some of our other libraries to give you kind of maximum flexibility. There is an included reverb which you can switch off by dragging all the way there or put on full here. And that's kind of useful if you want something quick and easy to use out of the box. As usual in the spanner, you've got all of the extra controls in there, but we'll stick to the simple view for now and just dive straight in. So if you notice down here some sticking notes, this is just a graphical a bug in Contact. It's nothing, it doesn't affect the functionality of the library. It's just something that will be sorted out by Native Instruments at some stage. So if we play the performance patch just staccato, you'll hear that you get a nice kind of spiccato-y, stabby kind of sound. If you really hit it hard, then you get a kind of full dig sound. If we play with a legato technique, kind of holding down one key and moving to the next one, then we can do that softly to get a kind of more glidey kind of sound, or we can do that hard and get a more kind of rebowed type sound. I'm also going to move the dynamic slider at the same time. So have a listen to this. So you can hear it's just jumps out of the box. Very, very easy to get a lovely performance with this. I'm going to play it just in the higher part of the range so you can hear that as well. So as you can hear, it's very, very responsive. Let's jump to the various articulations patch next. And this gives you a lot of the kind of source articulations that make up the performance patch and some extra stuff as well. So we'll have a quick look through these. We'll stick to the valve mic for now, and then I'll show you the other mics with one of the spiccato sounds so you can hear it more clearly. So again, we have a kind of long Artisan sound, and I'll give you a quick demonstration of a few of those notes. So they might be different from one note to another. There's a little interesting unique performance on each one. If we go to the standard longs, now the way that we've recorded these is slightly different from your kind of traditional non-vib to vib. We've recorded them with a slower, slightly more non-vib start to the note, and again that varies with the dynamic. And then there's a very natural kind of progression into the vibrato. And if I just play some stuff, I'll just play that a little lower in the range. So I think it just sounds very beautiful, and it gives you a slight element of unpredictability as well. You're still kind of controlling things with the dynamics, but it does add a lovely musicality into things. So that's the long articulation. With the harmonics, these are again dynamically controlled. And then if we go, if we look at kind of higher in the range again, so it's an incredibly beautiful sound and really beautifully controlled and played. Let's go back to Sol Pont, and again, this is dynamically controlled as well. So you can go down to a real whisper quiet there. We've got the slightly more distorted sound of with slightly heavier Sol Pont. So that's a very useful sound as well. And then we have our beautiful Sol Tasto, and this sounds great low. But also particularly beautiful in the higher part of the range. And again, fabulously controllable with the dynamic slider. So onto the shorts. We have, these are controlled by velocity, unless you want to go into the spanner and you can use CC mapping, but I'll just leave them on velocity for now. And so the pizzicato sounds like this. So fabulous dynamic control there, and also really great up the top end. Lovely stuff. If we look at the spiccato, so you can go whisper quiet on this, and then super. Very, very nice. And again, if we look at the higher end, so a lot of control in there. We have a brushed spiccato, which is a slightly more gentle, delicate. So you can hear there, it's a really useful different sound. And then we have our most aggressive staccato. And then up at the top. Sorry about the playing error there. So if we listen to the spiccato, I'm going to give you a quick blast of the different mics. So as we flick back to the close condenser mics. In fact, I'm going to turn the reverb off entirely. You can hear this completely dry. So this is the close condenser mic. And then next up, we've got the dirt mic. So really good down the bottom end. You can hear a nice bit of grit on there. We've got our stereo pair. Then we've got our ribbon. This is a close ribbon. And you can hear on that one that it's got that kind of slightly rounded top end that you get from a ribbon mic. This is our room stereo. Obviously, as I mentioned, it's not a huge room, it's a kind of smaller environment. but still a beautiful, real sounding room. And then if we go back to the valve mic, which is my favorite, but so that's the one that we load up with each time. So that gives you a taster of the various articulations. And then Time Machine articulations. These are some of the short notes with the Time Machine enabled. It uses a little bit more memory, so as you'll notice, even with everything loaded, one mic was 60 odd meg, and then when this one loads up, again everything loaded and one mic, you'll notice that it uses more memory because you have to load the entire sample, but it's still only 135 meg, so it's not a massive amount. So if we go into, let's check it on the spiccato, it's quite a good one to hear it on. So if we pull the stretch all the way this way, we get a longer, you see, it's stretching out the notes. But if we pull it all the way this way, it's super tight. So you can kind of use this creatively with CC control to kind of get. You can hear, you know, if you kind of draw it in, or maybe kind of just practice playing it, you can assign these obviously by right-clicking and assigning it to a different CC, whichever you prefer. But you can kind of use that to get a huge variety of variation into the notes, kind of longer and then a couple of shorter, quick ones, and then longer again. Or you can just use it to kind of position it somewhere like this and get a, you know, if you want a really tight kind of fast spiccato sound. So let's put it kind of back to the middle. We've got the pizzicato as well, and again that has the same effect, kind of longer with that way, shorter that way, and then we've got the spiccato brush, which is a really interesting sound because it's the more gentle brush sound but sped up, so that gives you a kind of interesting slower attack to a fast spiccato, and then you can obviously get a longer sound out of it as well. Dig is a good sound. When you stretch it out, it does get a little bit more aggressive and longer, more kind of marcato, and then this way you can get a really tight sound. So between all of those different short articulations in the main patch and with these, with the Time Machine, there's a huge amount of variety in there, huge variance. And then if we go into the individuals, you've obviously got, you can load up one single articulation out of all of these and just use it on its own if you want to load it that way as well. So that's the Artisan Cello library. Hope you've enjoyed this brief walkthrough, and we look forward to seeing you on the next one. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.